I never really understood the big deal when it came to weddings. But since moving back home to Nigeria 6 years ago and getting married, I soon found out how big a deal it really is. But what happens once the party's over and it's just the two of you? I started to think about this. As much as I've heard about the romance of it all, I've also heard about the stress, the fallouts, fights, and everything in between. Divorced after 6 months, happy being a mistress, the 7-year itch, 8 years dating but no ring in sight. The topics were endless. So I wanted to see what regular people had to say on these topics. I've spoken to single people, married people, and counselors. Maybe if we're all open about our experiences, someone out there may be able to take something good out of this. And I might learn a thing or two myself. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of So You Want to Get Married. So You Want to Get Married is table talk where we talk about anything and everything to do with love, relationships, marriage, and of course, dating. Today I am joined by a lovely panel of guests. We have got procurement executive Kevwe. We've also got on-air personality Freeze and CEO of HOD Beauty Labake. Hi guys.
Hi.
How are you doing?
We're good.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So today's topic is marriage by force? Now, I want to explain to you the reason behind this title, and I'm sure you can already guess, but I'm going to tell you a little story to start off with before we start the discussion. So, a couple of years ago, I was at a conference. I was invited to speak, and I was talking to 1,000 schoolgirls between the ages of 13 and 17. And I was talking to them about careers. So I said, okay, put up your hand if you want to be married by the time you're 21. And like a handful of people put up their hand. Put up your hand if you want to be married by the time you're 25. And 95% of them put up their hand. So I now said, okay, so put up your hand if you want to be married by the time you're 30. And can you guess what happened? Basically, there were people shouting, yes, God forbid, oh, that kind of thing. Because they were just thinking 30 is old, right? So I started thinking about this. Is marriage by force? I've spoken to a 25-year-old recently, and she told me that, she was worried that she was going to get left on the shelf. This is a 25-year-old. So my point is, if that 25-year-old sole purpose is to get married in the next 2 years, what is going to happen to her? What are your thoughts? I think we should start with the gentleman in the house. Seeing as Freeze, you're the only guy here. What do you think?
First of all, thank you for bringing me among so many beautiful women. I feel honored to be here.
No problem.
There shouldn't be an age restriction when it comes to marriage. You could get married from as early as 20 and as late as 41, 42, depending on many factors, including your career, your choices, your belief systems. I don't think there should be an invisible noose around every woman's neck that tightens with every month she lives on planet Earth, choking her to death because she's not in a home. And why would I say this? Because there's so many women in bad marriages. There's so many people in bad marriages, in unhappy marriages. I feel the institution of marriage is grossly overrated.
So why do you say that in particular?
Why would I say that? I think it's because of let me put it this way, it's because of the over importance our society attaches to the union of marriage without actually going deeper to join two people together as one. What we do is we marry two families. We hardly ever marry two individuals.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so Labake, can you just touch on what he said? What are your thoughts on this?
In my opinion, marriage is very important, but nothing is by force. Do you know of anything that is actually by force? I don't think I've, even religion, even God says that you have a choice. Nothing is by force. But I would agree with Freeze on the standpoint of there's too much emphasis
based on
marriage, especially for the girl child.
Okay.
Right. Ever since I was born, all I've heard is, oh, you must get married, cook for your husband, do this, do that. And for me, marriage was like an escape.
Yeah.
I got married at 26 and I've been married 9 years. And it was almost like after school, that was the next thing. And then come years later, I started wishing, I wish I had done this and done that. And I wish I had a gap between home with the parents and then, time with the husband. So in my opinion, as wonderful as it shouldn't be by force. You should be yourself and know yourself. And it should not define you.
So, Kevwe, let's get your thoughts on this, because so you're actually single, and so you're probably, I'm assuming, are you getting the question, when are you getting married? Is your don't worry, is your time, something, right? And you're under 30 as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, I've always said that it's just never that serious. I mean, it shouldn't, because let me start by saying this. It was my birthday sometime in June this year, and then some married women at work came over to pray for me, in quotes, and then they're like, don't worry, by this time next year you'll be in your husband's house. And I'm like, wait a minute, who says I want to be married by this time next year? Like, why wouldn't you want? I'm like, okay, but just what if I have other goals? What if I have other dreams? What if marriage is not my ultimate
end all, be all and end all?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they're thinking, okay, but you're 28. Why shouldn't you want? I want to be married by all means, but it doesn't define my existence.
Yeah.
Do you get? So if I have a list of top 10 things I want to achieve, marriage isn't exactly one of them. Not because I don't think it's important, but because I think it is more important to be able to be fulfilled and happy as an individual, as opposed to attaching your happiness and sense of fulfillment to a guy. Do you get? So it's really not by force.
I want to touch on that 30 thing, because have you heard the phrase that if you're 30 and over, you're expired?
Yes.
As a woman,
a lot of times.
Which is just really rude, first of all, and it's very degrading, derogatory. Where did the number 30 come from? Is that to do with like fertility? Because let's just be frank, is it to do with like your biological clock ticking? Because why the number 30? Why is it that 30 is so important? Because I know a lot of people that when like the 30 age is knocking on their door as a woman, that they start getting really scared or depressed that, oh no, I haven't done X, Y, and Z. So where does the number 30 come from?
I will take it back to our mothers.
Okay.
My mom used to brag, among her many qualifications, she's a professor of law. She says, I had all my children before I was 30, and she had 4 of us.
Wow.
So I think it was bragging rights those days to have had all your children before you're 30. Also, you are healthier as a woman when it comes to child producing before 30. You peak at about 28, if I'm correct, and you start to lose. You start to unpeak, if I could put it that way, when you're like 37, 38. That's why some medical professionals will advise you not to have kids after a certain age, say 43, 44.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it stems from.
That's where the number comes from. But okay, so let's say it's to do with that, but it's your lot in life that you're getting to that age and you're not married. Why are people putting, and especially women as well, why are they putting so much pressure on other women or other young girls to get married? Like, what is the thing is, they don't know the person's background, they don't know, it's an automatic thing. If you go to a wedding and you're single, it's like, don't worry, next year. And it's always don't worry, so what can we do to change the pressures from society? What do you think can be done?
Well, I think most of it really is the mindset of the society, and I think that what we can do is get to know ourselves, get to experience the world and see what everybody else's culture is like, and basically you need to live for yourself. I understand the biological clock. I was one of those who also said, I want to have all my kids before I was 30, but it didn't work out that way. I had my daughter at 31, and we're still very happy. There's really nothing wrong. My mom had my sister when she was 38, and there are people with medical technology growing, I mean, there's so much more you can do now. So there's nothing really restricting you and holding you down. And for me, marriage is about quality.
Yeah.
We lay too much emphasis on quantity, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. What has been happening to you in the last 50 years? Were you really happy? And then there's all the rules, all the, so I don't think, basically I think just do you and learn to do you. Mommy and daddy are going to say so many things. The pastor is going to say a lot. But who are you? What do you want for yourself? What do you want to achieve?
Okay, well, I want to ask you in particular, what do you think would have happened if as soon as you finished university, you got married? How do you think things would be like for you? I know it's hard to say, but...
Probably would be out by now.
Really?
Yes, because judging from the person I was when I finished school, I finished school about 6 years ago.
Mm.
But in the last 6 years, in the last 1 year especially, I have grown and matured a lot as a person. Mm-hmm. The girl I was after I left school, it's really hard to picture that person managing a home.
Yeah.
I mean, people who know me very well say I can be very selfish at times. You get so. I mean, and then so back then I would have been more concerned about me, as opposed to how to run a home, how to make sure my husband's clothes are clean. Why can't he do that himself? How to make sure there's food and so
yeah.
I probably would be out by now.
I think that if you're worried you're getting to a certain age and you must get married, your focus is getting married, like you said, and then 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, the marriage itself, what's happening with the marriage itself? Do you really know the person? Do you really understand the person? What compromises are you going to have to make? Freeze, I just want to ask you, so people are going to these weddings and they'll say to the girl, when is your time? Your time is coming, don't worry, or when are you getting married? That's always the first question. And it is very difficult for it to not seep into your subconscious. I think no matter how strong you are, you're thinking, but no, I don't feel like I need to get married now, or I'm trying to pursue other things. If the guy comes, great. How can someone stop that affecting them, or can they stop that affecting them? What do you think?
It's going to take a while. There's a paradigm shift that has begun in our mindset in Africa. Up until now, 2 girls can go into a nightclub. They'll need a guy. You see, we've not gotten to the mental awareness that is needed to process the fact that a woman is an individual. They see a woman as part of a man, and if she doesn't have that man, she doesn't have the cover. I'll give you a quick instance. A cousin of mine is the firstborn, and she's the only one that was working at that time, and her younger sister was getting married. Her dad didn't have much money. Let's imagine the wedding cost 2 million. The dad brought like 300K. She brought like 1.5 million, and everybody else contributed the rest. So when it was now time to perform one act, I've forgotten what it was, a ritual, and the sister nominated her. The father was like, no, she doesn't have a crown, that she's not married, so she cannot lead. They now chose the elder brother, who contributed nothing to the wedding, who's more or less a layabout, to actually be the one to lead that particular ritual. So it comes to show that as a woman, if you're not married, no matter what financial, educational achievements you have, you are still not seen as an individual. It's a problem we have right here in Africa, and it's our duty to change that for our daughters so they don't end up in wrong marriages trying to please the society, whereas themselves are in an emotional and possibly a physical mess.
Okay, very well said, very well said. So we're actually coming to the end of this episode, part 1. We're going to do a part 2 because there's a lot to touch on this subject. So guests are going to stay put, and we will see you for part 2 in our next episode of So You Want to Get Married. See ya. To watch some more episodes of So You Want to Get Married, all you have to do is head to my YouTube channel, Marcy's Projects. Enjoy.